Welcome back to Nation Online. This is our special sports edition, and we have a very special guest in studio today. Now, this young lady needs no introduction, really and truly, but I'm still going to introduce her for you. This is the one, the only Acacia Small Barbados national player, Paradise player, and a legend in the making. Acacia, welcome to Nation Online.
Thank you for having me.
Now, the reason we are talking to Acacia today is because we want you, the viewers, to get to know more about her. In these segments, we just want to introduce prominent and upcoming athletes to the Barbadian public. And Acacia is going to share a lot about her story, her ambitions today, and probably even offer some important advice to upcoming athletes as well. So Acacia, once again, welcome. And the first thing I want you to do is tell me a little bit about Acacia's origin in football. Like, how did you first come to play the sport?
Well, I grew up with a lot of cousins. My grandmother had 14 children, so there were a lot of us. I think my very first time remembering kicking a football would have been with my cousins and my uncles. Probably around the age of 5 to 7 is when I remember actually playing football. I also played football in primary school at Hillaby Turner Hall Primary under the coach Kevin Scott. Yes, I was the only female on my primary school team, and yeah, that's where my football evolved from.
Right, so then from primary to secondary, which secondary school you went to?
I went to the Lester Vaughan School.
Big at Lester Vaughan. And you would have played on the school team there too?
Yes, I did. I played football there.
There was a girls team, or you played with the boys again?
Initially, there wasn't a girls team, but I started playing with the boys. And then there were small tournaments where it would be like 5-a-side, 7-a-side type. And I would have played with the females, but then I was also playing with the under 15, under 17, sometimes the under 19 boys as well.
So Acacia, playing with all these boys and stuff, how these boys used to feel when the game skin out by a girl, game dribble and mash up and stuff, like what the reactions were like, man?
To be honest, like any other boy, you know, the egos were up in the sky, and sometimes you would hear, oh, you didn't get dribbled by a girl, and some of them would try to really like tackle you really hard, or you know, like put a lot of muscle on you. And but I guess as time passed and I grew up and played among more mature boys and then men, it became a, I guess, sense of embrace, you know, feeling like she's one of us, and they were very proud to see how far I would have gotten in comparison to how it was before.
Yes. Now, obviously, when it comes to honing your skills, because there's the raw talent there, and then it's always honed by a very special individual. There's always that one particular coach that athletes have that they always thank for putting the first steps in place to make them who they are today. You have a particular coach that you want to credit for that?
Yes, actually. As mentioned, my primary school coach, Kevin Scott, he would have started out, you know, helping me get to where I am. But the person who I would give the most credit to, I guess, would be Coach Mario Hart. He has worked wonders when it came to my development in the sport, starting from under 17, the national team, with him going straight up to seniors. He would have played a great role in my development. He has put in some work and dedication, not only with myself, but also the Lady Tridents, you know, and he has done so much for us, and I can't thank him enough for all the hard work that he would have put in. And I know that had he been given the chance, he would have taken us to heights that, you know, we all imagined we would have been with him.
Yes, because the Lady Tridents have been performing amazingly, especially last year. You guys would have been washing off teams, handing out 4 and 5 love victories and stuff like that. Obviously, you would have made a large contribution. I actually remember the first time I saw you play was for Paradise, so. But the way how you were just running down the flank and cutting in and just moving past people, I told myself, yeah, this girl ain't normal, man. Honestly, I was a fan from then. And obviously playing for the national team, there's a particular goal that you scored that I want you to walk me through, because when I saw it, I could not believe my eyes. I shared it with a lot of people. And everybody was like, who's this here? And I offered that as a young lady called Acacia Small. Remember the name. And when I saw this goal, my heart started to sing, man. No, I want you to walk me. We can show you all the goal. I want you to walk me through this goal, Acacia, because it was a case you did not just scoring, but you dispossessed the opponent first, and then went on a solo run. I was about probably 60 yards.
Yes, a lot.
Most of the field by yourself.
Yes.
No 1-2s, all individual. I can let you tell the rest of your story, but talk me through this goal occasion.
Well, before the game, I remember being in the locker room and my captain, Ashley Thompson, her and I were having a conversation, and I remember she said, this game is either park the bus or you. For those who don't know what park the bus means, it's basically when, you just defend. You defend. And
10 maybe,
just 10 maybe. Just defend, just stop the opponents from scoring. So it was either park the bus or you. And I remember when I took the ball from the defender, well, at that point it would have been an attacker because she was coming towards our goal.
And this was the Dominican Republic?
Yes, Dominican Republic. And I stole the ball from her and I became the attacker. And I remember hearing, I remember hearing Coach Hart say, go, go. And, from the time I heard him say that, it was just like, you got to do this.
Yellow.
Like, it's no turning back from here, because I know that as fast as I am, when I get the ball in that position, my team was already in a defensive format, and there's no way that they would have been able to catch me from that distance. And there were many thoughts that were going on in my head in that split second, and I took on 3 defenders. And then I look up at the goal bar, I saw that the goalkeeper was off her line. I was like, you gotta try this, I said to myself that I wasn't a far range shooter, but try your thing, because at the end of the day, what else to do? I took the shot and it scored. I also remember saying, I just do that. I can't believe I just do that.
Yeah, because you run straight over.
And then I ran straight to the,
and it was at home. That's the best part too.
Yes, yes.
So the home crowd was, and the thing is, I said to my friends, is the brilliance of her to lob that ball, because a lot of people would have just power it and probably send it straight in the parking lot, because as it was at the Wildy turf. But you just lob the ball, you finesse it up in the V, and I was like, as the top, either left or right hand corner, we call it the V. I was like, who would take? And I was like, this is why we need to get you out of Barbados, man. So Acacia does one of the best goals I've ever seen, man or woman, regardless of level. It was one of the best goals I've ever seen in my life, and y'all can get to see it. And it's that kind of brilliance that made me a fan of yours. Now, in terms of further developing your skills and everything, like obviously things like the weight room, incorporating those things into your regimen, like just talk to us a little bit about how Acacia trains.
Okay. Yes. To also mention in terms of what you just asked, in terms of playing as well, I remember, and this is along the goal that I scored as well. I played a season at school, and that was actually the same season as the tournament that was going on. So I was flying back and forth. Sometimes I was at school playing 3 games a week, and then I would fly and play, and then fly back. All in the same. Yes,
this is at
during
Allen
August.
University?
Allen University, yes. This was during August to December. So I was doing my league at school and also playing the World to Go Cup. Things like practicing, the plays that you want to execute. I remember during games at school, I would practice running down the flank, taking on the 1v1, cutting in, taking the shot. And each time I would cover a base. Each time I would get something right. And it was at this point where I did get all 3 things right in this game. Is running down, taking on the defenders, and taking the shot, and they eventually scored.
So you're telling me the first time that you successfully pieced together these 3 parts of the attack
was at home.
It was at home in front of a crowd.
In front of my family, in front of my friends.
And you had to score because we were 1-love down?
Yes, we were 1-love down, and then that was the equalizer.
So you understand she's a big day horse then? Because a lot of people in that moment, with that kind of pressure, a lot of people get done in practice, but then they might not be able to get done in the game. So
that's why I was most proud, because being able to execute that at home was very important to me. And then also mentioning the weight room, as you would have asked, it's something very important, to make sure that you cover all the bases in your sport. And I think that strength and conditioning is very important as a footballer. And I've been doing my best in terms of following my guidelines by my coach step by step, just to ensure that I meet the criteria of the expectations that I have for myself, in order to become the best player that I possibly can.
Right. Speaking of becoming the best player, any professional ambitions? Because some people just use the sport to get themselves through college, to pay for the tuition, and then go on to be professionals in other areas. So what about you in terms of professional ambitions in football?
Yes, my dream is to become a professional player. I am most certain that I will become a professional player. I am doing everything that I possibly can to make sure that when the opportunity arises that I am ready, to take that step and be the greatest that I can be.
Yes. Now, obviously, as you said, opportunity and everything. Is it, especially as a young person who might be looking to you for inspiration, I want you to explain how challenging it could be sometimes to be disciplined at all times, because obviously you're very young.
Yes.
This is the time to party. This is the time to stay out late. This is the time to drink alcohol and stuff. So when you see like during crop over time, everybody enjoying themselves and you have to be waking up early and practicing or maintaining a particular diet and stuff, like explain how challenging that could be to a person who might be interested in following in your footsteps.
Well, to start, I would say that, you still have to live life regardless of being an aspiring professional player or a player at all. And I do think that it is very important that in living life, you have fun. You do the things that, make you happy. However, you have to know that this is priority. So even if you go out at 5 a.m. and you have training for 6, you have to be at training for 6,
Yeah, that's
and it's not impossible. However, it's not something that I would advise people to do every single weekend. But, there's an exception. You can go, you can have fun, do the things that you want to do, but just keep in mind that this is my goal. And sometimes you do have to make sacrifices. Sometimes you have to tell your friends, well, I don't think I'll be able to make that. And I'm very sure that supportive friends and family would understand that this is, the ticket. Oh, this is how you make better for yourself and in turn them. So, just put your mind to completely focus on the priority, and in whatever you do, keep that the center. Always make sure that you tap back and say to yourself, I need to do this to get where I want to be. Even if I have fun, I still have to do this. I still have to be disciplined. Discipline is the most important thing in being an athlete.
Thank you. That's amazing advice, Acacia. Now, when it comes to the next stages of your career and everything, you said you have all ambitions of being a professional and everything. Is there a particular identity you want to forge for yourself as a footballer in terms of like, how do you view Acacia? How do you envisage you will be as a professional going forward?
Well, I think that I would be want to, give back a lot to my country. I want to be able to help develop the women's sport in Barbados. I want to be able to, give to those young girls things that I never had. I want to be able to be an inspiration to many, for them to look at me and say, if she can do it, I can too. I want people to know that even though Barbados is a very small country, that you can do very big things. And I want them to be able to follow in my footsteps and doing all the most positive things, that they possibly can in order to be who they want to be in life. As a professional player, I also want to, make a great deal for myself as well, in terms of breaking records and, being one of the greatest footballers the world has ever seen. That is my goal. I want to be that person.
You heard it right here at Nation Studios. Now, Acacia, just one more thing. We know the situation with the Women's Football League was a little dire for a while.
Yes.
There was a cessation in activity in terms of league football. So I know the teams would not have had much going on. What was the conversation like amongst the female footballers in Barbados during that period?
Well, to be honest, it was a very depressing, period for us in the last year, given that we had no competition going on. We were still trying to keep training and, keeping fit, being able to give ourselves something to look forward to, even though there were no games. I could speak for Paradise alone. We would go to training and, we would scrimmage. We were very competitive, so it would always be fun. But it was very, heartbreaking to know that we didn't really have anything going on. And given that a lot of us have, bigger goals for ourselves in terms of getting out, we need that experience. We need the game time. We need the footage. We need, all of these necessary things in order to give the exposure and get out of here. And then for more, I guess, basic outlook on it, for some of the girls who just play for recreation and the fun of it, and just simply for the love, they were not able to find that happiness in their week because there was nothing to look forward to. But luckily there's, expected tournaments to come on. In about 2 weeks, we're expected to play a 7-week tournament until the end of the year. It's just, I guess, something to help us get back out there before the 11-a-side tournament in March next year, 2025. So come out and support the ladies for the 7-a-side tournament. It'll be held at the BFA. And you can always, I guess, follow their page to get updates on the times and the schedules.
Oh, I also give people your athletic page as well on
Yes, my Instagram is life_of_an_athlete. So that's life of an athlete.
You post like your training routine and stuff like that on there?
For the most part, I'm not as, I guess, active because I kind of have a bit of anxiety when posting, if I'm being completely honest. But I am trying to become more active in posting because, it is actually a page to, give people an idea of what the life of an athlete is like, the reality of it. And sometimes I do post some things that, I guess, reflect that background. But I do have to admit that I must become a bit more, I guess, disciplined in, uploading stuff to that page as well. But you would always find content of football, whenever I have national games or even Paradise games, I do post stuff like that on there.
Yeah, and I would have seen the other day that you would have posted about your grandmother.
Yes.
So I imagine you might want to just dedicate a minute to her.
Yes. I just wanted to say thank you to my grandmother for everything that she would have done for me, throughout my entire life. She has always supported me. She's always been at every milestone, every game, every graduation, and I played many sports and she was at everything that I had going on. And it's kind of unfortunate that we lost her, but I know that she's, watching over me, and I just want the world to know that I promise her I will be a professional player and that I will most definitely do, not only to fulfill my personal dreams and goals, but to honor my grandmother in the best way that I possibly can, because I know that she loved watching me play football. So rest in peace to my grandma.
Rest in peace, grandma. And I saw you post a beautiful tribute to her with a photograph.
Yes.
And it was very moving to see her there with you, all smiling and everything. So Acacia, I want to thank you so much for coming through today and speaking with me about football. One of my favorite things to speak about. I'm a huge fan of yours from day one. I just want to see you go as far as you can and carry the torch for women's football as a Barbadian. So,
Thank you.
And that was it.